Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
All
You?
right, I'm good too. Uh, Once again, we meet for yet another book, and this is also an amazing book. We have spoken about your book that you had written before this, Magic Within the Arcade Order. And in that podcast, we had talked about, for keeping an eye on this book. And I'm very, very glad that you completed this book as well. And it's as amazing as the second one. So we have already, spoken about what you like and how did the idea of the entire series of this book come to your mind. So let's just focus on this particular book for this podcast. And you tell me, like, what exactly is in this book that the readers should know about.
What exactly is in this book is about it's a story about a kid who learns that family can value more than anything in life. So, the actual values that you should keep are with family. Be happy. And this time, the main character reconnects with his brother, his grandfather, and gets to meet new people, go on a new adventure, and keep his home safe.
All right. So, as you know, the entire series of the book starts with the first book named The Magic Within, and where you had spoken about, whatever magic that there is inside us, and then that kind of helps us to fight, all of the evil. And in the second book, the main character goes on to fight with the antagonist, and then, there are other characters and there are the stories that happens. So now in this one, I believe that Malthar is the main antagonist, or is it somebody else?
It's Malthar only because he was the one who was planning the strings behind the villains of the first and second book itself.
Right. Yes. So now in this third book, we kind of, I mean, is it just the end of if I don't know if the character finally defeats the antagonist, or are there any more books left to come, or if there is no.
There would be one more book that would be
Okay.
left to come.
All right, all right. Okay. So this entire series is very, very interesting. It's a fiction book, and that you have designed, and you had already told us that, you had kind of scripted or, set down the entire frame of all four books. However, now that we know that there are, certain adventures that, the protagonist goes on and fights the villain, what are we, supposed to, what sorts of other problems or challenges is our protagonist supposed to face in the next book?
The protagonist would be facing family issues as well in the next book because I plan on making a plot twist that would surprise everyone, especially the protagonist himself.
All right. Again, so how do you get inspired by, writing this entire series of books?
As I said before, I got this idea while reading a book. I already had a series in mind. I had started writing the series when I was really little, so I thought maybe I should continue it. So this is again how the books all started.
All right. And once the series of books is, finished, do you also plan on to write some other series or just single books?
I might write more series or single books in the future as well.
And
I
what
haven't.
genres would those be, probably? I mean, if you were to explore some other genres or the same genre, let's suppose.
I might be writing a book after the fourth one, a book that would contain many short stories in one book about different people.
All right. And now I see that, there are huge banners behind your about your book. So I understand that, you're doing great with marketing as well, and, kind of creating awareness about your book. So how do you do that? And what all ideas do you come up with to kind of promote your book?
I have been posting it to all my friends, especially on social media. And for this book, we even had a book launch.
Oh, that.
Many people came and bought our book. People that we didn't know. We sold our book over there as well. So
So
we had a book launch.
all right, that's great. And I believe that when you write your first book, it's kind of a new experience, and then you wrote your second book, so you kind of learn a lot of things, and maybe the do's and don'ts of how to write a book, what not to put in the book, how to make it more interesting, and how to promote it. So now that this is your third book and you're kind of an experienced entrepreneurial author now, so every time I ask, authors to give one advice that they would want the other authors to, once they start writing the book. But now I would specifically ask you, if they were to kind of, promote their books or share it with the world, what is a great way to do it?
I would suggest writing an interesting quote on the place where you're promoting your book. A quote maybe from the book itself or another one that would actually highlight what your book is. That would be a main selling point and things that the buyers would see before buying the book.
Right. And do you believe that, social media or sharing short videos or, just the pictures of your books that interest our generation these days? Because it's not just, the adults using the social media or the internet these days. Everybody has access to the internet. So does that help in any way?
Yes, and now the BriBooks has even launched an author card that we got that helps us promote our book a lot. You can host a book launch anywhere, maybe in your society or wherever you live, so that people would come and buy your book, learn more about it. So I suggest hosting public events is the right choice.
That's great. And do you believe that, book writing, I mean, I understand that writing something is a different skill in itself. However, being able to speak about it or share your story with the world, I mean, being good at, communication skills is a different skill set. However, do you think that, after written three books, does that kind of, help in any way to become more confident about sharing your story with people, while you sit there and you in your book launch maybe, or it's just reading sessions. So does that kind of help?
Yes, that helps a lot because I had my first book at that time and I was really scared of what people would think. I was scared of their judgment. But now that I'm on my third book and planning to write a fourth one, it helps in my confidence a lot. So when I was really nervous and a bit timid before to share about my book, but now I can confidently say that my book is a good one and I would love to share about it.
Right. And then you can probably also, because once you have written, I think it's just the first step that is very, very scary, right? Once you're past that step, you understand that, all of the fears or all of your, confusions that were just within your head, probably, maybe, your first book might not turn out to be that good. But then when you write the second book, you try to, change all of that was not correct the first time, and then you take feedback from other people, and then you improve. So again, in your case, you had already decided about, all of these series of books. However, if there's somebody who just writes different books on different topics, uh, do you think that the feedback kind of, I mean, what kind of feedback should they be working upon to improve themselves? And who is the right person to take those feedbacks from?
I would say that family, friends, and people that you care about and would love to hear about your book are the people that you should take the feedback from. If you're writing a single story book, then what would best be is that you recheck it many times. The spelling errors, the grammatical errors are very important. Because in my first book, I was a little careless about those. But now I understood that they matter a lot. So if
Right.
you compare my first to the third, you will see a huge amount of difference. So the people who are writing only one story books, I would suggest that they recheck their book many times, share it with family and friends before actually publishing it first, working on their comments and then doing it.
Right, that's great. And I think I'd asked this question before as well, but I'm going to ask it again. I mean, before starting your first book, did you ever think of becoming, a published author or pursue this as a career option in the future? If not, do you think of it now?
Yes, I actually thought about being an author when I was little as a dream and all. But now that I'm publishing my own books, I can see this as a career path that might grow for me in the future.
Right, great. I think I remember that you started writing, short stories and poems at the age of 6.
Yes.
And how old are you right now?
I'm currently 12, and by May, I would be turning 13.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So you have written, in just a span of 6 years, you have written almost three books that are published, and you're on to your fourth book. And definitely we'd see a lot of interesting books from your end. Uh, Apart from this particular genre, what other genres interest you? I mean, as in terms
Uh,
of reading or watching movies or anything.
I love reading mystery genres.
All right.
They intrigue me a lot. Especially if you read something like Sherlock Holmes and
Yeah.
all, you will feel very intrigued. So if I wasn't going to write about fantasy, I would write on a real world experience that happened that intrigued me, or on the mystery genre shaping a story around.
That's great. That's great. Is there anything else that you would want to share with us?
About my fourth book, I would say that you should be ready for something big that might be coming the way.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for connecting with us. It's always great to, hear about your stories and your experiences. Uh, and we're very, very proud of you. Congratulations once again. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.